Welcome to The Critique. Today we're looking at a script for video rebutting Candace Owens on the third eye and astral projection, aimed at warning baby Christians.
Right. A bold topic. And jumping right in, the use of pejorative language seems to actively work against the stated goal.
It's immediately combative.
Completely. He says he wants to correct misled believers, but the language feels more like he's trying to win a fight in a comment section.
I saw that right away. You've got sycophants, he's calling people dingbats, and the whole idea is dismissed as voodoo woo-woo nonsense.
Exactly.
But let me play devil's advocate for a sec. This is for YouTube. Doesn't he kind of need that sharp, aggressive edge to cut through the noise?
I see that point.
If he's too polite, will anyone even click? Won't he just be ignored?
Well, if the goal was just engagement bait, then maybe. Sure. But he says his purpose is to protect baby Christians, to offer spiritual discernment.
And this language doesn't do that.
No, it's a tactical failure. It creates an immediate us versus them dynamic. If I'm a confused Christian who's, a little intrigued by what Candace Owens said.
And you click on this for clarity.
And the first thing you hear is someone implying you're a sicko or a dingbat for even listening to her. You're clicking off instantly.
So he's pushing away the very people he claims he's trying to save.
He is. It shifts his whole persona from, say, a knowledgeable mentor to just another online antagonist.
A troll, basically.
Yeah, a mentor corrects, a troll mocks. If he wants to be the adult in the room, he has to strip out the insults.
It's a tough balance, though. He clearly feels these ideas are dangerous. You can feel the anger there about the deception. How does he keep that urgency without sounding like a jerk?
He's got to shift from combative ridicule to something more like pastoral authority. You can be firm without being derogatory.
So acknowledge the appeal before you dismantle.
Yes, you have to. Take that sycophants line. The script says, one of my comments wasn't very well received by a lot of her sycophants.
It just sounds petty. Really does. Like he's mad he got ratio.
It sounds defensive. A much, much stronger way to say that is something like, the comment sparked a fierce defense from her dedicated community.
Ah, okay. That's objective.
It is. It acknowledges the opposition's intensity without name-calling. It makes them look unshakable, not triggered.
And the dingbats comment? He uses that when people misinterpret a Bible verse.
That one might be the most damaging. You call someone a dingbat for not getting Greek exegesis, you shut down the learning process right there.
Yeah, you make him feel stupid.
Instead of insulting them, frame it as a common stumbling block. He could say, it's a frequent misunderstanding to read this verse as biological rather than spiritual.
That builds trust. It says, this is difficult, let me help, not you're an idiot.
Exactly. And that brings us to voodoo woo-woo nonsense.
I have to admit, I chuckled when I read it, but I see your point.
It's dismissive. And honestly, it's lazy. It sounds like he doesn't know what he's talking about, so he's just waving it away.
Right.
If he wants to claim spiritual discernment, he needs to use precise theological labels. Call it syncretism or esoteric practices. That maintains the high ground. It signals he's actually studied this stuff and rejected it on its merits.
This whole tone issue, it connects to something else I found buried in the middle of the script. He's got this really compelling personal story that he just breezes past.
Are you talking about the part where he mentions the Bhagavad Gita?
Yes, he says he read the Quran. The Bhagavad Gita explored New Age stuff. He says, and I'm quoting, I sort of got sucked into it. I was searching during that time.
And then he just moves on.
He glosses right over it to get back to attacking the third eye.
That is the single biggest missed opportunity in this entire draft. That personal admission, that's his ethos. That's his credibility.
Right now, he sounds like a judgmental outsider.
He does, but that little story proves he was once one of the confused people he's now trying to reach.
So why do you think he buried it? Is he maybe worried it weakens his authority?
Could be. He might feel like admitting he was sucked in makes him look weak, or he just wants to get to the facts. But that experience is his greatest asset. He needs to move that story, that narrative, right to the beginning.
Frame the whole critique with it.
Yes. Instead of starting with an attack, start with a confession.
What would that sound like?
Imagine if he opened with, I understand the appeal of a higher playing field of spirituality. I get it, because I explored it myself when I was reading the Bhagavad Gita.
Wow. Yeah, that completely changes things. Suddenly the sicko fans are fellow seekers who got lost.
It totally disarms the listener. It's not, I'm right, you're wrong. It becomes, I've been exactly where you are, and let me show you what I found.
He can validate their desire, which is a good desire for a real experience of God, while correcting their method.
Exactly. He makes his born-again experience the superior alternative, based on his own life, not just on his own assertion.
Okay, so let's say he fixes the tone. He leads with his own vulnerability. He still has to win the actual theological argument. And reading his breakdown in Matthew 6:22, I was lost.
You and me both, and so is the author, apparently. He even says in the script, not sure if that makes too much sense, but I did the very best that I could.
Which is brutally honest, but not something you want to admit in a video where you're the expert.
No, you do not. That's a red flag. It signals a total breakdown in his main point. The argument about Matthew 6:22, it just lacks the precision to actually debunk the pineal gland theory.
So for context, the verse is, if thine eye be single, thy whole body shall be full of light. And the theory he's fighting is that the single eye is the pineal gland.
Correct. And his rebuttal is just, it's a loop. He talks about light and focus and Christ, but he never defines what single actually means in that context. His argument is basically, it's not the third eye because the Bible doesn't say third eye.
Which is circular logic. It doesn't work. When you just remove the pineal gland theory, you leave a vacuum. He hasn't put anything better in its place.
So what's the fix? How does he make it make sense? He needs to stop this stream of consciousness thing and use more of a definition than application model. He needs to define his terms first.
So start with the Greek.
Yes, start with the word haplos. He needs to explain that in this context, single means undivided loyalty or even generosity.
Because the chapter is all about money.
Exactly. The whole context is about serving God or mammon. The evil eye was a common Jewish idiom for being stingy. So the single eye is about being generous and focused on God. It has nothing to do with biology.
Okay, that is so much clearer. And it completely dismantles the gland theory, because a gland can't be generous.
Correct. He should structure it like this. The New Age view says the eye is a gland. The biblical view says the eye is the heart's intent. Here's the evidence for that. It sets up a clear contrast and explains why the other view is wrong, not just that it's wrong.
It fills that vacuum.
It fills the vacuum with the concrete, biblically sound definition. Moral perception.
You know, there was another logical gap that really bothered me. This whole Charlie character that Candace Owens talks about.
Right, the flickering lights, the supernatural signs.
Yeah, the author just dismisses it. He calls it X-Men universe fantasy. He basically says, that sounds like a comic book, so it must be fake.
Which is not a convincing argument.
Not at all. Because if I'm a listener who saw lights flicker in a video or believes it happened, and this guy just says, that's fantasy, I'm not convinced. I still think something happened.
It's a critical failure in handling evidence. He's relying on dismissal instead of offering a counter-explanation. He's attacking the conclusion.
That Charlie has a third eye.
But he's totally ignoring the phenomenon, the flickering lights. And that leaves a massive logical gap for any listener who believes supernatural things are real. They're left wondering, okay, maybe it's not a third eye, but then what was it?
So he needs to validate the event, but not the cause.
Exactly. Address the flickering lights directly before you pivot. He needs to offer alternative explanations.
Like what? Faulty wiring?
Well, he could go the natural route, coincidence, confirmation bias, electrical issues, but for his worldview, he should probably offer a distinct spiritual interpretation. He believes in demonic forces, right?
Oh yeah, that's his whole point.
Then he should use that. He should say, okay, let's assume the lights flickered. Attributing this to a third eye is a huge leap. Then pivot to the source of the power. The third eye implies power from within a person.
Like the X-Men.
Just like the X-Men, whereas biblical miracles come from God. He should sharpen that distinction. Say, if the lights flickered, we have to ask, was this a sign from God or a distraction? Scripture tells us to test the spirits, not just assume they point to a gland in your brain.
That closes the loop. It says, I believe you, something weird happened, but you're misidentifying the source. That is so much more persuasive than just calling it a fan.
It's respectful persuasion, not just denial.
It feels like a lot of these problems, the tone, these logic gaps, they all seem to stem from a lack of structure. I felt like I was reading in circles. He kept coming back to the same couple of points.
Oh yeah, it's demonic.
It's not in the Bible.
It's Eastern mysticism.
Over and over and over. It just kills the momentum.
It does. The listener gets the point in the first 2 minutes. The rest just feels like filler, not reinforcement. The narrative suffers from this repetitive circularity.
But how do you reinforce a point without just repeating it? He obviously thinks it's important.
You use a progressive argumentation structure. Each section has to add a new layer, a new idea, instead of just restating the premise. Think of it like building a case in court. You don't just say he's guilty 50 times.
You present Exhibit A, then Exhibit B, then Exhibit C.
Exactly. You build the argument piece by piece. You pour the foundation once, then you build the frame, then you put on the roof. You don't keep pouring more foundation.
Okay, so walk me through that. What would that four-phase structure look like for this script?
All right, so phase 1 would be origin. Establish the non-biblical roots. Hinduism, Buddhism. Do it once, do it well, and move on. Don't mention it again.
Got it.
Phase 2 is the mechanism. This is where you talk about the pineal gland. Dismantle the biology argument using that clear Greek definition we talked about.
Okay.
Phase 3 is the consequence. Now that you've shown it's foreign to the Bible and scientifically flawed, now you talk about the spiritual danger. This is where it's demonic lands with real weight because you've built the case.
And finally?
Phase 4 is the solution. Focus entirely on the Holy Spirit, on true spiritual discernment. It takes the listener on a complete journey from where did this idea come from, all the way to what should I do now?
That flows so much better, and it trusts the audience to remember what you said in phase 1.
You have to trust them. It keeps the whole thing moving forward.
Man, it feels like we've basically remodeled this entire piece. Changed the tone from angry commenter to caring mentor.
Fix the theological foundation.
Patch the logical roof, and put a new front door on with that personal story to invite.
That's a great way of putting it. Look, this script has good bones. The author is clearly passionate and wants to help people. But right now, the execution is getting in the way of the message.
It's funny how often that happens, isn't it? We think being right is enough.
But how you package the truth determines if anyone will actually listen. And with baby Christians, people who are already searching and maybe a little defensive, packaging is everything.
You can't bully someone into discernment.
You have to lead them there.
So let's wrap this with a clear checklist for our author. Actionable steps.
Absolutely. First, tone check. Search for every insult and replace it. Sycophants becomes devoted followers. Shift from ridicule to authority.
Second, lead with ethos. Move that personal story about the Bhagavad Gita right to the top. Build that bridge of empathy first.
Third, define your terms. Rewrite the Matthew 6:22 section. Define hapless before you try to debunk anything. Use that definition application model.
Fourth, address the evidence. Don't just dismiss the flickering lights. Acknowledge the phenomenon, then reframe the source.
And fifth, structure for progression. Outline the script into those 4 phases: origin, mechanism, consequence, and solution. Cut every repetitive loop.
That's a solid plan. I would genuinely love to see the next version of this script. It could be a really powerful resource if he makes these changes.
I agree. The raw material is all there. It just needs that refinement.
So to our listener who sent this in, thank you for trusting us. It takes guts to ask for a critique like this. Take these ideas, run with them, and please send it back to us. We really want to see the update.
We do. Good luck with the rewrite.
That's it for this critique. Now go get to work.